Hey everybody, this is Dave here at Pulp Alley, and today we're going to talk about making weird characters for the Pulp Alley tabletop game. You know, I started role-playing games, like back in the late 70s, early 80s, Dungeons & Dragons, RuneQuest, Call of Cthulhu, Pendragon, and on and on and on. And one of the things that I remember from those early days is how much we disliked pre-generated characters. You know, when scenarios came with pre-generated characters or campaigns, it's like, well, no, I want to make my own character. But then as you transition a little bit into skirmish games or tabletop games like Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40K or Necromunda and yada, 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 for some reason they eliminate that option. So when Mila and I first started working on Pulp Alley, we made a list of the things that we wanted in the game, the things we didn't want in the game. And one of the things we definitely wanted was the idea, the flexibility to create our own characters. Not just for the game designers, but for players. One of the most fun things, you know, is getting to design your own character and then playing with it in the game and seeing how they do. I think there's a lot of fun in that. So you don't have to make your own characters, right? If you enjoy playing pre-generated characters, then we got tons of that as well. As far as the character decks, there's just lots and lots of characters. As a matter of fact, we have one book that has something like nearly 400 or 500 pre-generated characters in it. The old characters book has just tons and tons of pre-generated characters. We have lots of cards for pre-generated characters, but on the backs of those cards, folks, frequently they are blank. So you can make your own version of that character. You can, you know, it has the artwork, and if you don't like that artwork, then of course we have just completely blank cards that you can fill into your heart's desire. That's pretty awesome. We like doing that. Sometimes people ask, what about weird characters? What if I want to make a giant spider? You know, what if I want to make a giant stomping robot? How do I do that? How do I make a deep one? How do I make a Yeti? How do I make a big scary spider? How do I make a zombie? The short answer, everybody, the short answer is you make them exactly like you make every other character. There are over 100 different abilities in the Pulp Alley game that you can pick from. So when you want to make your own vampire, you don't just have to use the vampire that we created. We of course, have created vampires, and you could use those. But what if you look at our vampire and you go, you know what, that's not exactly the way I would like my vampire to work. You know, or a werewolf, you know, you go, well, I wanted my werewolf to be different. I wanted my zombie to be different. I want my robot to do this, you know. So in those situations, have at it. We want you to have that flexibility. We spent a lot of time playtesting Pulp Alley to make sure that players could create their own characters. So I guess one of the first things that you do is you look at the character and you have to decide, you know, well, just how tough do I want that character to be? Do I want it to be a leader level character? Do I want it to be a sidekick level character? Do I want it to be an ally or a follower? Or is it so big and nasty that it needs to be an epic character? So you could do that as well. And then you kind of go through the rules. Here on page 9 and 10, I think it starts talking about the character creation rules. And it explains how many abilities, how you assign their skills. So you put down how many dice do they roll, what type of dice do they roll, and there's rules for all of that. So you can kind of pick and choose. And I'm going to go through an example with you because I think it'll be fun. And then you select their abilities. So which one of these characters should we do today? Let's do the Yeti. I haven't created this character yet, so that might be fun to do today. I think one of the first things we have to do is decide, well, how tough do we want it to be? What level? Is it going to be running with another group of small Yetis, you know? Is it going to be a follower? Is it going to be an ally? Is it going to be a sidekick? What if it was a leader level? And I think that's what we'll do today. Let's make it a leader level. That's a level 4 character. It tells you that its health is going to be at a D10, so we'll put that on there. We know that its health starts off at a D10. And then for the skills, we get to pick 4 of its skills to start at 3 dice. For that, we kind of start thinking about what is it good at and what is it weak at. For this example, let's say it is lowest in its shoot and its cunning. And then we'll put 3 dice in the other 4 abilities. So 3 dice in brawl, 3 dice in dodge, 3 dice in might, and 3 dice in finesse. Now, I went with finesse at 3 dice because that is also used for stealth. So if the Yeti wants to hide for some reason, then that would be in there to let it hide. I think that's kind of cool. Then we assign the type of dice. So 2 of our skills are only going to have D8s, and for this example, we're going to say that's shoot and cunning. The other 4 are going to be D10s. So now, we're not done. Just wait, because it's going to change as we go through this. 3 die 10 in brawl, 3 die 10 in dodge, 3 die 10 in finesse. And the next thing we do is we get to pick out 3 different abilities. I haven't really even thought about this yet, so let's just look through the abilities. What do you think would be good abilities for a Yeti? Since it's level 4, let's see if we have any level 4 abilities that we would just like to throw out there. Maybe it's a grappler. Maybe it is impervious. Lots of good things here. Lots of good things. I get to pick 3 abilities. This is always the tricky part, isn't it? You know, there's so many things that you want to put on there, and it's like, oh, but I only get 3. I think for the Yeti, I'm going to make it impervious. So whenever the enemy shoots at my Yeti, they're going to have a -1 to shoot at it. But my Yeti is not particularly good at dodging. So although we put 3 die 10 into its dodge now goes down to 3 die 8. Now for another ability, and it just seems to make sense, I'm going to give it animal. And that means it's going to lose its shoot ability. So although we assigned 2 die 8, now that's going to become a no dice skill. But we're going to gain 2 extra dice to add somewhere else. So I think for our Yeti, we're going to put it into brawl and into might. Let's put it into brawl and might. So now we have 4 die 10 in brawl. We have a might of 4 die 10. We have a shoot of no dice. We have a dodge of 3 die 8, a finesse of 3 die 10, and a cunning of 2 die 8. So now we still have 1 more slot left. What else do we want to give to our Yeti? What do you guys think? So there are a lot of things that you could do here. You could go with Indomitable. Indomitable actually sounds pretty good for a Yeti, doesn't it? You could go with, Fierce. There's a lot of different options, but I think I'm going to go with that first one, and we're going to say Indomitable Yeti. That kind of Indomitable snowman, right? So how can we pass that up? Plus, it's a cool ability. It means that it gets to re-roll a recovery check, and that's pretty cool. I think that fits this. We could have gone with big. We could have gone with a whole bunch of different things, but I think for this one, yeah, Indomitable just fits. When you're making a character, you get to decide. You could easily make a Yeti and decide, you know what, I want my Yeti to have a submachine gun. Sure, if that's how you want to make your Yeti, then that's how you make them. Have fun with your characters. You can particularly have a lot of fun with the weird characters. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment for us. Make sure you get subscribed to our little channel. Hit the like button and the bell. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.